After years of homeschooling our 9 children, we decided to send them to public school, and a lot of you had the question, why? So I'm going to answer that honestly. We started homeschooling from the beginning, and at the time we only had 3 children, one school age. We decided when we moved to a new area, and it's a large city, but we just wanted to not immediately acclimate. From that day forward, we've been homeschoolers. And now we've decided to change direction, and what changed to take us there is the biggest question, and that's the why that everybody's asking. The dynamics of the household really have changed. We've got 9 children from 19 to 2. We decided that we were going to send them to public school. The dynamics of the house are so amazing when you homeschool because you're with them all the time, but that's a double-edged sword. The noise, the chaos, and the energy that they bring at home when you're trying to make them do school is very challenging. Especially we have from 2 to 10 years old in a very tight group. You know, I've got a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 7-year-old that's going to be 8. I have a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, but she'll be 4. Like, they're just very close together in age. And that makes it very hard when you're trying to manage a household and get things accomplished. Task, right? Have a schedule, have everybody on par. Some of my children are better at doing their school at home than others. From what I've seen from the outside anyway, as the dad, because my wife done all the schooling. I've never met a homeschool mom ever that thinks they're doing enough, and that's a real curse. So, and what I mean by that, curriculums, I've got more curriculum in there than the local college probably. The different curriculums, the different needs, are they learning enough? Are we focusing enough time on each subject? What subjects do we include? It's a whole spectrum of just psychological detriment, because you're so worried that they're not learning enough and they're not spending enough time. So you're responsible for their education at that point, which is a great thing because you get to teach them what you want them to learn, and they don't have a lot of outside influence. So that's how we got here. We wanted to acclimate to a new area. We're in 2 major locations here, as far as 2 cities that are close to each other that, well, they're big to us anyway. 60,000 people total, I'll just put it that way. And we were already leaning towards homeschooling, and then we just started down that path. We became part of communities, homeschool communities. There's huge homeschool co-ops here. We ran that whole path. And for me personally, it was a fine path. I loved it. My wife loved it. And at the end of the day, she was really the one that was in charge of that. And she lived that life for quite a while. But about 2 years ago, it started getting harder. So I have such a wide age range that you have varying needs in the house, big time. So to spend all your time homeschooling with the little children, it just really splits the dynamics, our age range and our groups of kids, because I have some that I have no doubt that if we just had a couple of kids that could homeschool and homeschool forever and do just fine. But then I have others that just have too much energy in a sense and lack of focus to want to sit here. And some of them have lack of drive really to be motivated. It just doesn't resonate with them. So they're at home. They want to hang out. They want to relax. That's a hard part when you're trying to homeschool kids, because you are at home. It's like when you have a home office, right? Same concept. You're at home, but you still have to work. And those are very big challenges, from curriculum to time management, making sure they all have enough attention. And then the ones that are motivated versus the ones that are not motivated, and trying to get through that on a daily basis is a huge struggle. When you've got 9 kids in the house, which, like I said, 2 of them are a little over 19, but my second one's just starting high school. Just the energy, it's not even really the mess, it's the energy and the noise. It's just unimaginable. And that takes its toll over time. And then when you're schooling all day, you're not at home getting laundry done. You're not baking meals. You're not doing all these things that kind of make a house a home. And if you've never lived it, I understand. And you can say, hey, you need to have a chore chart and have incentives, and you need to have them doing their own stuff, their own laundry, and doing their own cleaning, their own cook. Listen, we've done it all. It's just chaos. It's controlled chaos, and the outcome is always the same. It's almost unobtainable to keep them all in the right direction and keep up with a large house. Part two of it, you do not want to send them to school and it change who they are as a person, as an individual, their morals, their character, their beliefs. You don't want it to change the person that they are. That's the hardest part for me anyway. So as very involved parents, you stay on top of that, right? You don't, of course they're going to hear things and learn things at school that you don't want them to hear, see, be a part of. You want to protect them as kids. You want their innocence protected. You don't want to send them into an alligator's mouth, right? Like, that's not what you're doing. And so that's always a thought when you're a homeschooler, right? Like, it's so out of your control. As they grow older though, and they can stand firmly on their beliefs and their character and their morals, it's easier, or at least for me it is, to send them. When they're younger, you're just highly involved. And we've always been highly involved with friend groups and who they hang out with and who they're a part of, because that's what homeschoolers do anyway. Like, if you're a homeschooler, you know what I'm talking about. Like, you know every little detail of everybody because you hang out with them all the time, smaller groups. What else is the hard part? The freedom. There's no more freedom of, we're just going to go on vacation. Hey, we are just going duck hunting today. We really utilize that freedom. So I'll miss that a lot, because now it's like a 9-to-5 job basically, right? We're up at 6 a.m., out the door by 7, 4 different school buildings and 6 children. By the time I run that loop and get back home, it's 8 o'clock, a little after 8. And that's if everything's perfect. So how it's going for them right now? We're in day 3. Of course, the new has not worn off. I have some that are way more opinionated. At least one of them for sure. My little Titus. He's full of energy. He'd rather be out in this yard doing what he loves to do, working out, running, riding his bicycle. So he's been very opinionated about it. He does not like it. All the rest of my children have, they love it, right? But like I said, we're day 3, so the new will wear off, and we're well aware of that. We're not going to fight that. It's not like in life you have to overcome things, right? So that's just what this will be, is overcoming obstacles of things you don't want to do, because that's what you do anyway. And that's a good learning lesson for them. Also, we live in probably one of the best school districts in the state. And I think that makes our decisions a lot easier. We've become highly involved in a lot of the different sports teams here that are affiliated with the school. Met a lot of the parents, know a lot of the administration, know a lot of great people that run this school district. And that made our decision easier. That's a big part of why we changed, is we got to know a lot of people here. So it was just easier to make that transition from home to public school. What a scary step if you're a homeschooler, I know. But if you're thinking about it, get to know the people, get involved, get on the sports teams that are affiliated, talk to other parents from the school. If you have made the jump from homeschool to public school, I'd like to hear your experience. Things that caught you off guard and things that were a blessing.